Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. President of the Kosovo Defence Bar Association, colleagues from civil society and the media. It is my pleasure to once again be in Kosovo, and on this occasion have the opportunity to join the President of the Court to speak with you briefly today. In terms of my remarks, I will concentrate brief remarks, as today is a day also to hear from civil society, on three main topics. Firstly, the structure and mandate of the Registry of the Kosovo Specialist Chambers. Secondly, I would like to give you a brief update on the work of the various units involved in judicial support services. And finally, as the President has mentioned, with the kind pledge of the Swiss government to support the outreach activities of the Kosovo Specialist Chambers, I will briefly remark upon some of our intentions for a course of activities over 2 years, 2018 and 2019. So firstly, as Registrar of the Court, I am responsible for overall administration of the Chambers, and in addition the provision of all judicial support services. In terms of the structure of the registry, there's two main divisions. One is the administration division and the second is judicial support services. The administration division, as the title gives away, assists me in the management of the grant from the European Union, which is the body that supports and funds the Kosovo Specialist Chambers as well as the Specialist Prosecutor's Office. They are responsible for procurement, human resources, as well as upholding all best practices and standards. That means all financial rules and regulations, and supporting the audit function that we have. We have annual audits, but we also have an internal auditor. In terms of the Judicial Support Services division, there are a variety of units, which I will quickly outline to you and then give you an update on their work. In my Judicial Services division, I have a Defence Office, I have a Victims Participation Unit, I have a Court Management Unit, I have a Witness and Victim Support Department, I have a Detention Unit, I have Language Services, I have, although it will function independently, the Ombudsperson's Office of the Kosovo Specialist Chambers, and last but not least, and certainly with our guests here today, very relevant, is the Public Information and Outreach Unit, which is headed by a person you all know, Avis. In terms of update, I will touch upon firstly the Defence Unit and the Victims Participation Unit. As many of you may know, and as the President has indicated, in early November we published the Directive on Assignment of Counsel. What does that mean? It means by law I'm obliged to manage a list of defence counsel or counsel that will represent victims in the proceedings. So by publication of the Directive on Counsel, the Kosovo Specialist Chamber has opened the application process for defence counsel to apply to be registered on that list. I am happy to report that a number of applications are in process and have been received. It is an open process at the moment, and in due course, once applicants have a time to collect the relevant data and submit the documentation necessary, we will make public, and we've had some questions on this from the media already. So I assure you, in due course, once the administrative process of reviewing applications is done, there will be a publication on our webpage of the list of defence counsel who can be appointed or assigned to represent anybody who may be accused before the chambers. Also, as I mentioned, the registry has a Victims Participation Office. Victims have a right to be represented by counsel in proceedings, and in terms of the current application process, it is also open to counsel with relevant experience that may be interested in representing victims in the future. In addition, as the President has indicated, our work is ongoing in terms of building the defence capacity. We are at the final stages of finalising the legal aid regulations of the court. By law, I am obliged to manage a legal aid system, so if an accused person does not have sufficient money to defend themselves before the court, or they're partially indigent, so they have some funds but not sufficient for an adequate defence, then the specialist chambers will have a legal aid scheme, and persons can apply for support from the legal aid scheme in order to have a counsel assigned to them for representation before the court. Because again, as the President has indicated, the key is fair trial and fair proceedings before our court. Next, Court Management Department. In the future, this is the unit that will be responsible for the management of the courtroom. Today, I would like to emphasise certain aspects of their work that will be and remain at this point in time very important. As the President has indicated, and I think as many of you already know, we function in 3 languages. So our information sheets are published in the 3 official languages of the court. Our website is in the 3 official languages of the court, and we intend in the future to continue with publication of materials in 3 official languages, in addition to streaming of proceedings in the 3 official languages of the court. So what we are working on together with the team in the IT unit and the court management unit is to ensure that our web page, it's the phase 2, it's in process. The web page that you know and see today will have a component that proceedings in the courtroom can be broadcast through the web page and can be broadcast in the 3 official languages. In addition to the streaming, and also as mentioned by the President, we are invoking technology to help us ensure the integrity of the proceedings by protecting the privacy and indeed the security of persons who may be before the court. That means that in terms of the courtroom will be equipped to facilitate for face distortion and voice distortion if a judge decides that that is necessary to ensure the fairness and the integrity of the proceedings. As mentioned, there is the Victims and Witness Support Unit. That unit and overall is charged with the security and well-being of persons who testify before the court or others that might be at risk on account of their testimony. There's components to it. Obviously, one is the welfare and protection of persons who may come before the court, but in addition, we are also very conscious, and from the practice over the last 25 years, that there are also vulnerable persons and vulnerable witnesses who may testify before the court. In that case, my Witness and Victim Support Unit does have qualified staff, including psychologists who have extensive experience of working with persons who have suffered serious trauma and who need to be supported through the proceedings. So that capacity exists, and it's a capacity that we intend to enhance as necessary as we move forward. In relation to the Office of the Ombudsperson, as I mentioned, there is the Ombudsperson of the Kosovo Specialist Chamber. In a meeting before this, the President and myself had the opportunity to meet with the President of the Bar Association as well as the Kosovo Ombudsperson. And as I updated them, the process of recruitment of the Ombudsperson of the Kosovo Specialist Chambers is ongoing, and we hope that that appointment will be made in the near future. Finally, I have referred to the Public Information and Outreach Unit. So by way of closing today, I would like to touch upon the future activities in the field of public information and outreach, whilst I have the opportunity to speak directly to civil society and the media. As noted, with the kind pledge of the Swiss government, as part of our overall communication strategy following the adoption of the Rules of Procedure and Evidence of the Court in July, we have increased our activities and our work here in Kosovo. Many of you have met some of my team, the head of the Defence Office, the head of the Victims Participation Office, the Deputy Registrar and the head of unit Abbas in an outreach event that took place, and in side meetings, a number of side meetings that have taken place not only in Prištini but also in other parts of the country. Over the next 2 years, we intend to considerably increase our work here in Kosovo in terms of ensuring transparent transmission of information about the work of the court, about what is going on in the court, but also, as Abbas has indicated, a core principle of our outreach programme is two-way communication, i.e. it's not just for us to speak to you, we want to hear from you. Some we have already spoken to, but we look forward to engaging in more detail very, very early in the new year. So our intent is very early in the new year to arrange a round of consultations with civil society, but also with other groups and actors and stakeholders in Kosovo, to present what is our 2-year work programme, but to hear from you in terms of not only the topics that are relevant to the citizens of Kosovo in terms of what you would like to hear more about, but also target groups. So we would like to engage with civil society, but we would also like to engage potentially with youth groups, the legal community, etc. But as I said, that is something that is firmly on our agenda, and we look forward to seeing you early in the new year so that we can commence our round of consultations in terms of the programme of activities and work for the 2 years that lie ahead. So on that note, I will complete my remarks, and I look forward to hearing from you and also answering any questions that you may have. Thank you very much for your time today.